Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to do a tier list for PvP meta in Seiya Legend of Justice. Now, we have so many knights in the game right now that it would just take far too long to cover them all. So I am gonna skip over a lot of knights, and in fact for some of the knights which I think are not even relevant for PvP, I didn't even bother listing them here. So if you do see a knight that you don't see here, it's probably because they're really bad. Actually, no. If you do see a knight and you think deserve to be in this PvP tier list, then do let me know in the comment section. It is possible that I may have potentially missed out on that, but I'm pretty sure the ones that I have missed out are probably not going to be very relevant or strong in the current meta. But if you do spot something which you think is a bit weird, then do let me know in the comment section and I will get back to you. Now, in terms of tiers, so basically starting off with the meta, that's kind of self-explanatory. They are the best characters in the game right now. So vast majority of PvP team, you probably see some combination of them. There is also what I call outdated meta, which is still very, very strong characters, and vast majority of time you still see them a lot, especially like Seiya GodCloth, like, such a great character. Um, but they are somewhat countered by those from the meta tier, which is kind of why they have dropped down slightly. But they're still so good character in the game that I probably would consider those two tier together as a whole. They are definitely very good. It's just a bit unfortunate that with the release of so many OP characters recently, that some of them are just not as effective as they may have been, let's say, a month ago. But they are definitely very good character. So definitely do not ignore them. And then for the third tier, I have what I call anti-meta. They're also very good characters. Um, and they normally are used to counter specific knights that you may see from the meta team with the out of date meta. Um, as a result, it's a bit situational as to when you see them. If you just play them by themselves, they probably still work, but they are more effective when you actually, let's say, actually position in a way to counter a specific team. That's kind of why I put them as anti-meta. And on that note, a lot of the characters on this normally works better when you're actually attacking. If you're actually defending, it's normally a bit harder because the enemy can just avoid your counter, etc. But yeah, that I'll probably talk more about every single one of them later on. Then the fourth tier is budget substitute. They are normally okay characters. They are just like a slightly worse version of one of the characters from above. So which is why normally in most scenario you probably choose one of the characters above. But if you don't have any one of them built for whatever reason, then yeah, you can substitute them with someone from this tier quite easily. Then in the last tier is what I call the third team. So they are characters which are not bad, but not strong enough to make it into your first team, and probably even struggle to make it into a third team, considering how many other good characters I have listed above just from the first two rows, etc. So they're probably more like third, fourth, or fifth team. So they are still good by their own kind of niche team composition, but the absolute ceiling or the skill cap on them is just not going to be as high as some of the meta characters, which is why you see them a lot less. Alright, now with all of the definition out of the way, let's just kind of go through all of the characters. So starting off with the meta ones. So we have, well, of the GodCloth, that's kind of the name of the video as well. This is in the GodCloth era. The only one we're missing is Iki, but at the pace we're going, we might get him fairly soon. Who knows? But starting off with Sean GodCloth. Very good character. He is able to dispel buffs, dispel debuffs. That completely changed the game. Like the meta, PvP meta completely changed as soon as Strong God Close came out because he is able to counter some of the previous, godly characters such as Asuna God Close, etc. So many characters fell out of top tier because of the introduction of Sean God Close, purely from the fact that he's able to dispel buff and debuff. Absolutely crazy character, crazy skill that he have there, absolutely broken. So definitely deserves the top spot on my meta tier list. The second one I have is Hugo Got Close. He is a character who's able to counter everyone, like literally pick any other character on this list. Hugo Got Close can counter. I don't think there's any character which can't be countered by Hugo GodCloth, honestly. Maybe in the future, Iki GodCloth is able to do that, but right now, no, like literally no one here on this entire list can counter Hugo GodCloth, and that's kind of what makes him so good. Then we have Seiya GodCloth, the best DPS in the game by far, single target, able killing totally capable of killing off an enemy. If you make him survive long enough, he is able to 1v5 like by himself and win the battle by himself. That's how good he is. So also no brainer why he's on this list. Shiro GodCloth, definitely the weakest out of all of the GodCloths. The only reason he made it to this list is because if you ever see a duo of Shiro GodCloth and Seiya GodCloth, they are probably the best combo in the game right now because Shiro GodCloth protects whoever is in the front row. Wrong vector. I can't speak. Shiro GodCloth protects whoever is in the front row alongside with him. And basically, if you have Seiya GodCloth in the front row alongside with Shiro, your Seiya GodCloth is guaranteed to survive for a very long time. And if he survives a very long time, he's capable of 1v5. So that's kind of why Shiro GodCloth also deserves a spot here, purely for the fact of he is able to get Seiya GodCloth so much better and more consistently. Then we have Iris Move. Like one of the best characters from the beginning of the game. As soon as he put on his crystal wall, um, it's gonna take you a lot to do anything to him, or to the whole team, because crystal wall cuts all the damage by half, and also make the team immune to control effects, etc. Just absolutely busted skill, no matter how you look at it. So that's why he still has spot even now on this meta tier list. Poseidon, also another very good character. His ultimate is able to dispel buffs, etc., which is very close to what Sean Gokos is able to do. He hits like a truck once he fully awakened, so he also acts as a DPS. And on top of that, he have constant control with his looping skill when he fly out of Summoner. So he's able to do so many things by himself. So that's kind of why he's in this tier as well. Saga Light, honestly, I think as long as he still has his skill 3, which is the ability to cut everyone's HP by half, he will always be one of the best characters in the game. Like that skill is just absolutely ridiculous. Like he pretty much made it to a tip purely for that skill. Like no matter how bulky your team is, like even if you put all of the protection out, like as soon as Goku Celebration, everyone in, his skill 3 hits, cut all of them by half. Like no matter what you do, he cuts them by half. Like just the best skill in the game. Like it's regardless of whatever protection, whatever thing you're able to do, it's just cuts you by half. So as long as he has that skill, he is going to be near the top. So that's kind of why Saga Light is here. Um, Roshi. Roshi is a bit of an interesting one. I honestly think in terms of pure power, I don't think he is as good as the other characters on this meta tier list. But what makes him slightly difficult to kill right now is that there are not too many counter to him in the game. There are a few counters, but they are somewhat lower down on the meta tier list, which is why you don't see them much, and that basically makes Roshi really good as a result. On top of that, his own skill 2, I think it's skill 2, the one basically he's able to dish out interruption, and if that successfully meant to interrupt someone, then he is able to use it again with an 80% reduction in cooldown. That is also a very, very OP skill by itself, and you can interrupt so many different enemies with just that single skill. So the two factors together makes him a very, very strong candidate, which is why he's also on the meta list. Then we have uh, Alaya Shaka. Now, depending on when you watch this tier list, I don't know how many people will actually be playing him because obviously he is limited to only a certain number of copies per event. So to actually get him, you probably need at least 3 or 4 events just to have him actually be playable. But he's just so good that I can't really put him anywhere else other than here, even though I know most people won't actually be playing him. Therefore, he's not actually frequently seen in the meta. But like once he's maxed out, he's just absolutely crazy. His dimensional effect is able to ignore everyone's passive, which is like a better version of what Hugo GodCloth is able to do. So therefore counters everyone. He is bunch of other stuff. The fact that he takes reduced damage when he have the highest attack, that's absolutely great as well. He just is able to do so many things. The only thing, unfortunately, is obviously is a pay to win character, so you probably won't be able to actually get him. But trust me, like if you do actually have him maxed out, he's absolutely crazy and definitely deserves at the top. Then for the second tier, we have what I say still meta characters, but outdated. But you still see them a lot, mainly because the way the game has done is they release too many good characters in a row. So most people wouldn't have all of the ones on my top tier all built. So vast majority of the time, you probably see them still being substituted out with some of the ones from the other tiers. So that's kind of why on my second row here, there are still characters that you see quite a lot, to be honest. But now I will talk about them why they are kind of outdated in my opinion. So the first three are all kind of similar category. Athena, Salvation, and also Hypnos. They all offer very good opening protection, etc. And also constant protection with whatever their skill they have. But with the introduction of Sean GodCloth, he is able to dispel off those buffs. And if he actually dispel off those buffs, then your team is actually stunned. And that is actually going to be a massive game changer. It's not just the fact that your skill didn't work. You actually get backfired because all of your characters will be stunned as a result. So that's kind of why a lot of the time you actually prefer not playing a Sina Gold, even though she's a very good character. But the risk of being stunned for 2 seconds every however whatever his cooldown is, Sean Goku's skill is, that's just too much, which is why you hardly see those three anymore at the very top level. Um, then we have Aphrodite. Aphrodite is somewhat countered by Sean Goku as well because he is able to dispel debuff, so and poison is a type of debuff. However, the way Afro's constellation works is that as soon as you hit him, then you'll be poisoned. So yes, you can purify the poison straight away, but then you just get poisoned straight away, and it will still be active until your Sean Goku's skill come out to cooldown again. So that's kind of why Afro is not so much countered by Sean Goku's as much. However, having said that, Hugo got close also do counter Afro. And with all of the other too many good knights all coming out at once, you just don't see Afro play as much. Even though I still think he's perfect capable, he's still one of the best counter to Seiya got close, to be honest. So you can still play him in a bit of like an anti-meta fashion. But even if not to counter Seiya, he like the poison team I still think is strong enough to be a your second team, etc. So I still put him in very high regards, even though I have to accept the fact the poison team is a bit outdated now. Next, we have Mermaid Tetris. In all honesty, I was very close to putting Mermaid Tetris in the meta tier because I honestly think she is possibly one of the most undervalued character in PvP of all time. No one talks about Mermaid Tetris, yet she is able to make so many characters so much better. Have Momentatus with your Seiya GodCloth. Seiya GodCloth is able to win duel even against the likes of Aphrodite. Seiya GodCloth will have enough stats to one-shot anyone. If you have a mirror match, Seiya GodCloth with Momentatus is able to do so much more than your opponent. Absolutely great. What I would like to say is like the best support character in the game. That's kind of what Mermaid is. Like the best support character in the game makes any character better. Poseidon, there's a natural link. So that's a bit of no brainer as well. Just makes this better. Araya Shaka, right? Araya Shaka benefits a lot from having the highest attack on the team. Whip Mermaid alongside with Elia Shaka. You're guaranteed Elia Shaka have the highest attacking in the team on the whole field, right? But Mermaid literally just makes any DPS from the first row even better. But no one talks about it, which is why I am very, very gutted. I think she's honestly undervalued. And because the way she works, I think she is always going to be meta relevant to some extent because you can always whip her on and just make your team even better. The only reason why I decided to put her as outdated meta rather than meta is just that if I have, 6 spots on my team, then yeah, sure, why don't I just whip on Mermaid Tetris? But the fact is, you are restricted to just 5 characters, so it's not actually so much that Mermaid Tetris is not good enough to be a meta character. It's more that she faced too much competition that it's hard for me to justify bringing Mermaid Tetris instead of someone else to the team, right? If I want someone to actually like you, if you have any of this character from the top tier, would you bring them or Mermaid Tetris? The answer is quite obvious. So that's kind of the only reason why I say Mermaid Tetris is not good enough to be on the meta tier. But honestly speaking, like if you do have Mermaid Tetris, try her out. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. She's definitely undervalued. All right. That's enough about one character. And moving on quickly, Sorrento. Sorrento is very good. Because he's able to, as soon as he get his ultimate out and suppress your opponent's Cosmo, etc. Um, you are going to be in very good position for the remainder of the battle. The only problem is that he released his ultimate far too late, and by the time he can start working, a lot of the other characters have already kind of done enough to kind of already make the battle in one direction already. For example, like say GodCloth just released his first ultimate so quickly, and your surrender is not able to do anything to prevent that. If you have shown GodCloth on the opponent's team, he's able to buff out the speed for the entire team. Your Sorrento just too slow to do that anything. Hugo go close if he actually frees and use his ultimate on Sorrento. Sorrento loses all of his skills, passive, etc. But Sorrento just still a very good character, but he's just too slow. I think honestly that's the only thing kind of holding him back. He's just far too slow. Then the next character we have on this list is Xanatos. Xanatos is a bit of an interesting one. I think he is a very good character. I was also very close to putting him in meta. Um, but I think the whole thing with that Sentinel's gimmick is the fact that he has this passive, which basically lets him doesn't die. And as soon as you have like a meta character such as Higa Goklos, your entire gimmick goes away. And that's kind of what makes this really difficult for me to actually put Santos out any higher, because like Hugo Gokos is a meta character, no doubt about that. Even though he has only been released recently, I can guarantee you, very soon you'll see him everywhere once he's into his second or third banner. Sanatos is initially going to stand no chance against such a meta character who you'll see anywhere, everywhere. As soon as Hugo use his ultimate before Santos dies and therefore nullify his passive, Santos is going to be gone straight away, and your entire win condition falls apart just because the opponent managed to use one single character. And that's kind of why, Santos is just too hard to counter right now in the meta. If the opponent does not have Hugo go close, then I can guarantee you your Sentinels are going to jump straight onto the top tier. But that's kind of the situation with all the other knights here as well. Like if the opponent does not have Sean Gokus, your Cena Gokus is going straight up into the first row. So that's kind of the way it is. So it's a bit unfortunate, but Santos is a bit out of date now. Then we have Papillon Mule, still a very good character, but once again, all of your stuff can be dispelled by uh, Shango close of your sleep powder, poison, etc. And then Hugo go close is able to get rid of your passive. So Papillon is a too hard counter by a lot of the meta character right now in the game as well. Offie is kind of similar situation with Sorrento. If you can get his ultimate starter, etc., then he's honestly not bad. But just too slow. Like it just wastes far too long for him to get anything kind of kicking for you. So that's kind of why he is also out of date in my opinion. Then moving on to the third tier, I think all of those characters are very good. They're able to counter some of the ones from the meta or out of date meta pretty hard. So if you do want to use them, it's actually not a bad idea. But it's very situational depending on your enemy composition, etc. Starting with kind of both cannons, so Sea Dragon Cannon and Gemini Cannon, they basically able to steal a skill from the opponent, and that can be very game changing. So for that reason, they're always going to be anti-meta pretty much, because they can pretty much steal anything. Your Sea Dragon Cannon aims at the back, your Gemini Cannon aims at front, so depending on who you actually want to steal, either of them or both of them is going to have a role to play if you do want to counter a specific team. So that's kind of why they're here. Pandora is very good because she's able to actually potentially one shot a character and completely change the flow of the battle. For example, if you meant to get her ultimate out on Seiya GodCloth, then you are able to kill off Seiya GodCloth before he build up of his buff, etc. So it can be potentially game changing. It is a bit of RNG based to some extent because it does depend on who you have the lowest HP on the field. But she's always going to be a dangerous opponent to face because as soon as your HP is kind of like below 50 or 60%, Pandora's going to be capable of one shotting you. So that's kind of why she's here. Next, we have the very old meta, which is Sagittarius Seiya and Virgo Shun combo. The funny thing with this is that they were completely killed off when the game released like a single Goku surplus Shun, etc. Because all of the opening protection just makes them kind of useless. But now with Shun Goku kind of removing a single Goku and surplus Shun out of the action, a lot of the time you can actually get away with by playing Sagittarius Seiya and Virgo Shun again. Because first of all, a lot of people play they don't even play either of Separation or a Synagogue anymore because they don't want to be stunned. Or if you do see them, you just adding either, well, mainly Sean Gokos onto your team to get rid of their buff, and then you kind of burst them with your attack. So actually, they're kind of coming back a bit, and they are still quite effective if the opponent does not have a way to counter them. So definitely don't rule them out either. Then we have Io. Io is always one of the best counter for any skilled or assassin characters, especially for those one at the back because his normal attacks into the back as well. So that kind of makes him the perfect counter to like one shot someone, will kill out someone very quickly. So the like he is probably one of the few counter to both Roshi, Hugo, GodCloth, etc. So that's kind of why I think he is also similar to Merites, a very, very undervalued character. But if you do have him built and do try him out, kind of just face him directly opposite any skilled or assassin character, skilled or assist character, you're gonna find out you're able to kill off that enemy very, very quickly. Then we have Sagittarius, Aurora. Um, Also a very good counter, single unit counter. You are potentially able to one shot and kill off an enemy before they literally do anything. So very good. His skill 2 have a stun effect as well, and which can potentially be used to delay certain skills from the opponent as well. So you can also use it for that perspective. So also a very good counter for a lot of the meta characters. Then we have Taurus Aldebaran and also Argo. Argo is probably better than Taurus Aldebaran now. Argo is one of the best counter to Seiya Gokos because of the fact he is able to petrify, or he has a chance to petrify whenever he's attacked. Now, if you think about the way Seiya Gokos skill work, I think skill 3, where he launched a normal attack to everyone on your opponent's team. So that basically means no matter where your Argo is facing, like either of the front row or even at the back, your enemy, such as say every now and then is going to launch an AoE normal attack hitting your Argo, and when he do that, your Argo have a chance to petrify him. So basically, your Argo is actually a very good counter to say a Gokko because he will be able to constantly with RNG, but constantly try to petrify, say, a Gokos. So that's kind of why Argo I do think is actually very good. And once again, a bit of an undervalued character. A lot of people don't seem to realize the value of Argo either. Next, we have Taurus Aldebaran. Taurus Aldebaran kind of made it to the tier for only two reasons. One, because there's so many people, so many OP characters being released recently, a lot of people are kind of scrambling, trying to build one of them and trying to play them, even though when they are still fairly low level. Like, for example, Sean Goku is actually playable even from 9-star onwards. And I have seen people playing Sean Goku or Hugo Goku at very low star level because they have only just started building them. And that's going to make your Taurus Bronze opening bounce effect very, very deadly because now you'll be able to lock on straight away to such a low star character and wipe out their HP very quickly. So that's kind of why Taurus Bronze have a play from that perspective. This is purely from the virtue of the fact that the enemy do not have the OP character, the most recent characters completely built up. So for that reason, Taurus Aldebaran do have that very cheeky win in PvP right now. The other thing is that if you have his statue built up, the Earth statue is also acts as a cheeky way of countering Sean GodCloth as well. Because if you place any Earth tank up on the front, he has the potential to debuff enemies. So that's kind of why Taurus Aldebaran also have a bit of a counter effect to the enemy Sean GodCloth. Then we have Comedian June. Comedian June is mainly used as a last minute pitch healer for someone who may be one-shotted by, say, a GodCloth, etc. So kind of like an anti-meta from that perspective, and similar reason for caster as well. Now, in terms of the next tier, we have Sequels Bayern, who is like a budget version of Shuri GodCloth, similarly with Zelos. Then we have these three characters who are budget version of your Surface Shield, Athena GodCloth, and also similarly, Athena GodCloth is also like a better version of Sirius with all of the shield and also Cosmo Gain, etc. Your Hound Asterion is like a weaker version of Arrow Smooth. Pharaoh is like a weaker version of Hugo GodCloth. So all of them they are kind of like a budget substitute of one of the more meta characters. And then in the last tier, you have characters who, yeah, I honestly don't think you'll be seeing them much. You have the freeze team, you have the burn team, you have the poison team. Then you have characters who are very good by themselves, but just not quite as strong as the meta characters. So that's kind of why they kind of all fall into the bottom tier for me.